Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you game number 2 in the series between Romantic and Yumiko. Yumiko, I believe, spawning as the gray human player on the top left-hand side of the map. Meanwhile, over here on the top right, we have Romantic spawning as the red human player. So Yumiko versus Romantic here on Echo Isle. And this is going to be another interesting game. Now, game 1 on Nomad Isle was a little bit of a head scratcher, as I thought Yumiko wasn't really paying attention in the early portion, losing the very important Troll Shadow Priest early on. Losing that Troll Shadow Priest ended up hurting him, as he wasn't able to abolish magic on the water elementals. However, he quickly recovered, took two Shadow Priests, one from his opponent's mercenary camp, and then was able to come out ahead right before the middle of the game, or the mid game. Once that happened, once he was able to just neutralize those water elementals and get a little bit of an experience advantage, he just started creeping out ever and ever more difficult creep camps than his opponent. And with that level 2 Brilliance Aura, extra mana on that Mountain King over the Panda, he was able to take the victory pretty easily. Now, as we move into game number 2, what are we going to be seeing from both of these players? It is going to be an Archmage versus an Archmage once more, and it looks like we may see a very similar build to what we saw in game number 1. Both of these players training up an Archmage and some footmen, and then perhaps trying to get to tier 2 relatively quickly, and then delaying their arcane vault for once they are at tier 2. You can see a scout tower now being placed down here. It looks as though is it Romantic? Yes, Romantic is thinking that he does not want to get rushed. Footman now running across the map, going to see his opponent is militia creeping out this Ogre Warrior creep camp, and now he's going to perhaps try and militia creep this down as well. There you go. Both sides pretty much doing the same exact thing. Yumiko slightly ahead in terms of the foot race, so to speak, as we are now going to see the Archmage pick up those all-important Claws of Attack +6. It may not sound like much, but it is more than a 20%, it's almost a 25% damage increase on a level 1 Archmage. So that does add up extremely quickly, as that Archmage now, what did it buy anything important? I don't believe so. There's Claws of Attack +6, so both of the players, I believe, got Claws of Attack +6. All right, Yumiko now trying to put pressure in here. Rather interesting that he's actually trying to go after a farm. The farm has fortified armor, so it's not going to take much damage from the water elemental or the Archmage. Militia now doing a little bit of a fight back here, and I'm not exactly sure what Yumiko's thought pattern is. There's no reason to be fighting in an engagement where you know you're going to be outnumbered, but it looked as though he was trying to perhaps militia creep out this location here, but there is no water elemental to tank all of that damage. A little bit of questionable moves so far from Yumiko in the opening portions of the game. We'll see how he transitions here in just a moment. Archmage now sitting at level 2, perhaps going to pick up Boots of Speed. We're waiting for it. I believe they do come into the shop at 7 o'clock. I think that is right now 7 o'clock. What was that? 6, 8, 10, 12, 2, 4, 6, 8. I'm not 100% sure how the timing works on that clock there in terms of nightfall and the time. Unfortunately, I can't hover over it with my mouse to know what time of day it is, as you can during the game. All right, the footmen are now looking to pull back here as the Archmage is coming inside as well. Let's take a look here. Archmage making its way over, now going to perhaps get into a little bit of an engagement, but Yumiko still is not really in a favorable matchup. He's more taunting and baiting his opponent, and this is something that you normally do when you have an expansion. You try and put pressure on your opponent, so you kind of defend your expansion by being offensive, but we don't see any of that anywhere. Archmage down over here, sitting at level 2 as well. Perhaps we're going to pick up some mercenaries here in just a moment, and we are now going to see engagement here inside the main base. No, the militia and the footmen are now just going to be running down here, and we are trying to creep out this mercenary creep camp, and it looks as though it is going to all be picked up by Romantic actually looking pretty good here as the footmen are now trying to chase down this Troll Shadow Priest. The Troll Shadow Priest down to 27 hit points is healing himself, and he's actually going to be hiding himself down over here for a little bit of time, and the footmen are now just going to be able to finish it off. Is he going to take... Oh, it looks as though he's still staying alive ever so barely. Not quite sure how he's able to do exactly that, and he is still staying alive. All right, Archmage gets up to level 3. It looks as though the Archmage with the Claws of Attack +6 able to get enough damage there as we are still seeing this fight go in. All right, let's come back around. Romantic. Yumiko able to finish off that water elemental down over there. Archmage now trying to chase after this last Cold Bowl Tunneler, and I think Romantic actually came out a little bit ahead. Yes, he actually did come out significantly ahead, as this Troll Berserker will be forced to back off. All right, the Troll Berserker should not be engaging here. There is no reason for him to engage at all, and the Troll Berserker stays alive barely with that medium armor, preventing him from taking the full damage from the piercing water elemental. Yumiko, very low on hit points, is not going to be able to harass, and that means that this Archmage has a license to creep. If he has a free license to creep, he could try and pick up perhaps the panda from the tavern and then put pressure on. Meanwhile, we are already going into a Mountain King. It is a panda, yes it is, but I don't know what the panda is looking to do right now. He could try and creep out the creep camps with the Archmage, try and get to level 2, but we all saw how effective that Mountain King was at level 3. We may have a repeat of what we saw in game number 1 as the panda creeping out this 554 creep camp, or 544 creep camp, excuse me, will get to level 2 very easily, but he really needs to get to level 3 to really come out ahead. All right, let's see. This Troll Berserker will get taken down. Meanwhile, Archmage is going head-to-head against a Mountain King. That is never a good fight, even with the level advantage and the Claws of Attack +6. That Mountain King can just throw a Stormbolt and then all of a sudden get a sudden burst in damage that you were not expecting. All right, in comes the panda. The panda now makes its way over. There is a water elemental, and here is the engagement. Archmage taking a little bit of damage as the footmen are now coming in to engage as well. All right, we see ensnares now onto the priest. This is actually really bad news for Yumiko. Yumiko is going to actually have a really bad day as there is a Stormbolt onto the Archmage. Archmage may get taken down. Archmage now trying to run away, down to 31 hit points, and looks like he will perhaps just keep on running. All right, 29, 30 hit points, still running away. Meanwhile, the Archmage at level 2 has fallen. The Mountain King perhaps going to try and intercept and cut off this Archmage here. He needs to have his finger on that Scroll of Town Portal. The Mountain King now trying to catch over, and is he going to be able to get there in time? Oh, Archmage expects it, and now double backs around as the Archmage is sitting at 55 hit points, still trying to run away. Oh, this Mountain King, is he going to be able to get off a Stormbolt? Oh my goodness! Stormbolt getting stopped by a Scroll of Town Portal, able to teleport back home as the panda is now nearby. All right, the panda is going to try and engage here. This could be a very, very bad fight for all these units. There's a Breath of Fire hitting all of those priests now. A lot of damage to heal as the Mountain King now needs to back off. The Mountain King actually getting a little bit stuck here. However, has plenty of room to maneuver as the Mountain King, oh, the footman unable. Oh, Breath of Fire finishes it off just enough. Level 1 Mountain King, as Romantic is just in dominant control of the tempo and the pace right now. All right, level 3 Panda, level 3 Archmage. Archmage was a blind Scroll of Town Portal in order to get out and save it. That was the reason why it was stuck right there, and now needs to just run out of here in just a moment. All of these peasants need to perhaps start moving back over here. It should be happening. Come on, wait. Come on, peasants, get your act together. Start mining over here, or collecting from over there again, and you won't be getting in that Archmage's way. All right, both sides recovering rather nicely. The level 2 Archmage is already back on the field. Actually, one of those times where you enjoy the fact that your Archmage was one level lower, as it does resurrect faster and cost significantly less. Ogre Magi going to fall, giving a rather good item, Wand of Mana Stealing, one of the better items here on Echo Isle. I'm sure he still would have wanted a Potion of Lesser Invulnerability or a Potion of Greater Healing instead. Or, excuse me, a Potion of Invulnerability or a Potion of Greater Healing, but he will settle for that Wand of Mana Stealing if it can steal away a Water Elemental while giving himself an extra one. Panda sitting at level 3, maybe able to get to level 4 here in just a moment. Footmen are now coming over, but what are they going to be doing as the night crawlers are going to fall? There is a breath of fire, and this Panda, who is very, very mana strapped. Wait, come on. Take down that Murloc. There you go. As the Archmage now trying to run back around. Spellbreakers now making their way over. Peasants. Oh, what? Scout Tower was taken down there. Panda is now kind of surrounded. Not in a good spot at all. All we see is another Breath of Fire hitting a couple of priests there. And there is, I believe, a Stormbolt. Oh, down goes the Troll Berserker, taking the extra normal damage from those Spellbreakers. Footmen now are now giving chase. It looks as though a couple of those footmen are going to be taken out as well, as we see the peasants now looking to set up this expansion. All right, supply 46 over 54 compared to 50 over 60. We are now going into blacksmith, most likely for mortar teams, as the mortar teams are just extremely effective against all of these casters. Add in the fragmentation shards, and suddenly spellbreakers and casters are all going to melt away rather fast. All right, there is that level 4 Panda, and that level 4 Panda perhaps needs to retech to Drunken Brawler sometime soon. As, oh, there's the Mass Dispel there, quickly taking down one Water Elemental. There's more Dispel again coming in. There's a Breath of Fire hitting all of the casters off over there. And as those casters are now running back, it looks like one Spellbreaker could get taken down. Level 4 now on the Archmage. So that level 4 Archmage means level 2 Brilliance Aura for the rest of the casters, and that is going to be important as they're going to be able to heal back up and recover rather nicely. All right, it looks as though, yeah, that priest is going to be able to run back away. The other priests need to back off. There's another Mass Dispel again, as the Spellbreaker really trying to chase after the priest, not going to be able to get all too much. Archmage now coming in again. Mountain King attempting to take down these peasants, as we see the Arcane Tower attempting to take down a couple of other units. Oh, the Archmage was not attacked here, and because of that, another Water Elemental was dropped. That is a potential pitfall, as we're looking at the Town Hall now being completed. All right, perhaps this peasant going to try and run back. No, the peasant doesn't even need to run back, as the Archmage now on the run. Panda still trying to give chase here, as the Panda does have Drunken Brawler, does come in with, I guess, a critical strike there. Well, is it? Yeah, well, it technically is a critical strike, but it's a Drunken Brawler strike. So we'll just see what happens there, as the Spellbreakers are now moving back once more. All right, let's take a look at this. Archmage has 2 potions of lesser invulnerability, has a whole bunch of priests. We are sitting at 50 over 66, and this Archmage, which was such a strong hero in the early portions of the game, really starts to fall off later. You really can't go for Blizzard, you really can't go for Water Elementals all too much, because you may just start feeding your opponent all of that extra experience. So, this Water Elemental, let's take a look. Is it going to get dispelled down to nothing? It has already taken a fair bit of damage at 510. There it is, giving level 4 to the Archmage, and that is always something you have to be on the lookout for. Mountain King sitting at level 2. Breath of Fire maybe coming in. Oh, there's the Breath of Fire, but doesn't really do much. And this is actually one of the benefits of that Panda. If the Panda can stay high on mana, he will be able to counteract the militia that's being called in by Yumiko. However, the Spellbreakers are being the counter to that, exactly as the Panda is unable to mass up enough mana even with the level 2 Brilliance Aura coming in from the level 4 Archmage. Both Archmages now seen at level 4, and now Romantic being forced to do a little bit of retreating here, taking some extra damage, and still Yumiko looks like he has gotten back into this. So far, what is Panda looking to do? The Panda could try to get off another Breath of Fire. There it goes. It gets a little bit of damage onto some priests, but not very much of anything else. And this is where the Panda wishes he was a Mountain King. Stormbolt onto a priest. That priest is going to get taken down very easily from Focus Fire from all of those Spellbreakers. Spellbreakers now in retreat. You can see also Yumiko sitting at 1-0 upgrades on his Spellbreakers. That is going to be an important damage buff. More importantly so, because the Spellbreakers take additional damage from that normal attack. 14 to 18 compared to 13 to 15. That is 14 average damage compared to 16 16 average damage. 16 average damage, that's what, an increase of about 11 or 15 to 17%. Add in another 15% damage bonus, and that really does start to add up. All right, Stormbolt onto a Footman. Footman quickly taken down here. We now see a Breath of Fire, and that one tower taken down in a matter of seconds. Archmage still going in for engagement. We can see Peasants now making its way over. Panda now looking to back off. Are we going to see another Breath of Fire here, as the Arcane Tower really needs to be going after some of the heroes? If it's not going after heroes, it's not depleting mana, which means it's not really being used to its fullest. Casters in the backfield, as we see 64 over 78. Are we getting Militia coming in from the north? No, Spellbreakers instead, and that means that they are just going to be walking into almost a trap, getting completely outnumbered. One Spellbreaker already taken down, as the Mountain King now sitting at level 3. Panda still walking around at level 4, so still hero advantage for Romantic, but Romantic is having a very difficult time here, especially as the Spellbreakers definitely have... No, did we even up on upgrades? No, we did not. It is now 1-0 to 1-1, as Yumiko is still slightly ahead. Spellbreakers still trying to win the war here. Peasants are engaging, and I'm still surprised that we do not see... oh, are we going to see a Breath of Fire here going after the Mountain King? The Mountain King down to 270 hit points and rising. Not going to be a big problem there, as the Spellbreakers of Romantic finally focusing down the other casters, and Romantic may end up losing units. All right, Red now trying to run back through. This is still not looking oh so good, as Yumiko still coming back into a little bit of an engagement. Panda sitting at level 4 still. Archmage sitting at level 4. We are still seeing a bit of retreating, and whoever runs ends up taking more damage. We are now looking into a little bit of a fight here. The casters not going to be, or this army coming in from Yumiko just so strong. 72 over 72 supply compared to 59 over 78. Even the extra gold is not helping all that much, as we're looking at the Archmage and the Panda expecting there to be an expansion here. No expansion here whatsoever, and the Peasants and the Water Elementals are just poking apart this town hall. Yes, there is a 40% difference. No, there's actually a 100% difference in terms of the gold being mined right now. So perhaps this is actually, I don't know, I can't say it's a blessing in disguise. I'm not quite sure what Romantic can do to get back into this. He has fallen behind significantly, and he does not have that much gold in the bank. 69 supply compared to, I believe, 65, but now that he doesn't have the extra Peasants down over here, perhaps he will have enough. We now need to start seeing a transition into either, well, I would say Goblin Shredders would be a good call, but Echo Isle is one of the few maps that doesn't have a Goblin Laboratory. So the only option you really have are Knights, but if you go for Knights, your opponent is just going to go for Griffins and completely win out in that fight. That's a little bit of the reason why so many human versus human mirror matches end up becoming War of Spellbreakers. Archmage sitting at level 4. Panda sitting at level 4, almost level 5. All right, here is a bit of aggression. One scout or one farm will get taken down. We are now upside down on supply. You can see level 2 weapons upgrades coming in. We are still sitting at 1-1 upgrades. Soon to be 2-1 upgrades eventually, as the Archmage does have a Scroll of Town Portal. Not quite sure what he's doing. He's backing off to give more experience to the Panda, and now the Archmage needs to use the Scroll of Town Portal and get there in a hurry. Not quite sure what he's waiting for. That a little bit of delay is going to cost him a farm, maybe two, as the Panda now tries and comes in for the engagement. All right, there is the attack now. Spellbreakers, the lines are trying to be reestablished. Militia now being called over. Mass Dispel Magic coming in as well, as the Panda now seeing at level 5. So far, there's a Stormbolt onto the Panda. The Panda needs the, well, there's a Breath of Fire. Is the Mountain King going to be able to get back? It looks as though the Mountain King, or with the Panda getting just Stormbolted like crazy, perhaps Breath of Fire onto all of these Peasants would be a very, very smart call. There you go. But is it going to actually take down enough units here? All right, some units now falling. The Peasants are rather slow. Militia are coming in, and there is a Scroll of Town Portal, but not enough of the Peasants will be able to get back home. But the Panda is already at 5, so is that Archmage. They are not going to be getting to 6 anytime soon, at least not off of these Pandas, or not off of these units here. All right, Archmage, Panda, both of them very, very medium on hit points, I should say. 65 over 60 supply, 68 over 78. gold, 70 gold compared to 500. So Romantic does have a bit of an edge there. Well, and that just may be because he is supply blocked after losing too many scout farms. 68 over 78. Yumiko has plenty of room, and it looks as though the human player Romantic looking to clear out this bottom right-hand creep camp just for sheer denial, and also perhaps for a little bit of weapons or item advantage. Excuse me, weapons. A little bit of an item advantage since he cannot get any extra experience. The Archmage sitting at 5, that Mountain King sitting at 3, I believe, yes. So it is 5-5 compared to 5-3. And with this Archmage now picking up another useful item, it is going to be a Pendant of Energy, maybe given to the Panda. Is it going to be given to the Panda? Yes, it is. The Panda, now sitting at 500 mana, is going to be a force to be reckoned with, as you see a whole bunch of casters here in the back. All of those priests are going to be primary targets, as we now see the Arcane Vault in a little bit of pressure. Archmage does not have Squirrel Town Portal, but every other item under the sun in that Archmage's arsenal, as we're now rushing in. All right, Storm. Most likely we should be seeing a Storm Bolt, and then the attacks onto that Panda here in just a second. This base is just getting absolutely pummeled, and here, where is that engagement? I'm still waiting for it. The Altar of Kings can and will fall here in just a moment, and it doesn't look like he really cares. All right, Panda now trying to get into position here. Mountain King should be coming off with a Stormbolt in just a moment. There is a Breath of Fire, not hitting much of anything. The Spellbreaker should be getting in position here, and here you go. Where is the battle of the mass Dispel Magics? There we are, as we are now fighting. All right, too many priests in the front line by Romantic, but the Breath of Fire still really not hitting anything. Really, that Breath of Fire just maybe hit one priest, maybe two at the most, as the Spellbreakers are still getting in position. The Panda still has plenty of mana. There's a Breath of Fire, and that actually did something, taking down two priests. Now going after another priest here. All right, priests are very, very important in the army, and just because War of Attrition is how you can describe Warcraft 3, another Breath of Fire there, and the Panda just doesn't really care that he's only hitting one unit at a time, using that Breath of Fire almost as though it was a Stormbolt. All right, are we going to see another Breath of Fire? There we go. Takes down another two priests, and that Panda has come out ahead with so much extra damage. Panda now looking to back off here. Meanwhile, Water Elemental going up against Spellbreakers. That is going to be a little bit of a regrouping of that army. Archmage and Panda now ready to go, as we see that the Panda could deal a whole bunch of damage. Are we going to see Dispel Magic? The Panda still in the front line, has to be extremely careful. There's the Dispel Magic, as the casters have plenty. All right, here we are still engaging. All right, that Panda dealing 132 damage per attack, still looking very, very sharp, looking very good. And oh, this poor Spellbreaker could get taken down. No, not going to get taken down. There's a Breath of Fire taking out another priest. So it is becoming an army of Spellbreakers and priests versus an army of Spellbreakers. This is not looking good at all. The one Spellbreaker or a group of Spellbreakers able to take down that priest there, but now we are seeing this turnaround once again. Romantic has seemed to gain enough traction to really come out ahead, and it looks like, no, that Spellbreaker will be able to escape here, as all the other units are going back again. All right, Spellbreakers trying to chase down Romantic, pulling back with this unit here. The Water Elemental not going to be fast enough to do much of anything else, as we are still looking at a bit of a long chase. 2-2 upgrades compared to 2-2 upgrades. We are now dead even in terms of upgrades, and there is a Stormbolt onto the Archmage. Archmage really not in danger, though, as we see a Breath of Fire. The Archmage able to slip through the Spellbreakers, creating a nice wall right there, as the Panda now going to back off, allowing or preventing many of those Spellbreakers from engaging. That's the problem with chasing, is that when you chase, oh, this is going to be a huge fight here. Spellbreakers now coming in from the backside. Staff or mass teleportation, where are they going? Where are those units going? Oh, wait, where? Oh, Panda. Panda is in trouble. Oh my goodness, this could be a complete turnaround. Panda completely surrounded and not teleporting with the rest of his army, and that was a huge loss. Romantic worked so hard and got so far in this game, but in the end, it may not really matter. After losing a level 5 Panda, that was a huge, huge, huge mistake. Oh my goodness, I am absolutely shocked and amazed right now as we see a bit of long distance mining now coming in. We are going into the 24-minute mark. You can see that the panda is trying to be resurrected. You can also see 72/78 supply. And what is going to be going down in this next fight? The militia now being brought over. Stormbolt coming in from the Mountain King, dealing a lot of damage there. We are sitting at 72 compared to 70. We are about even in terms of supply, but remember, 5 of that is locked up in the resurrecting panda. All right, let's go ahead and get into this fight here. All right, Water Elemental is now trying to come in. You can see militia being called over as well. The Spellbreakers getting in a lot of extra damage just because of the call to arms, forcing the rest of the other Spellbreakers to do a little bit of retreating. Oh, wow. Oh, 18 hit points Spellbreaker finally falls there. We are still chasing after. The militia are such fast units, and they still have plenty of time left. Still doing a lot of damage. Archmage still trying to run back around. Oh, more Dispel magic there. The Water Elemental down to 23 hit points will fall as the Archmage now gets Stormbolted, and now Archmage is low on mana. Mountain King in a little bit of trouble there, down to 197 hit points. Still a little bit of chase. This Archmage needs to run back around, and as long as this Archmage is just slipping through from side to side, he is actually maximizing the damage as his opponent, Yumiko, is trying to focus on the heroes too much. It's allowing the Spellbreakers to actually get in a lot of free damage on the other chasing Spellbreakers. That is the GG, and Romantic easily takes game number 2, even though he did end up losing his level 5 panda at the end. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed game number 2. Please stay tuned for game number 3 in this best of 3 series.